In this episode, killer shots don't come cheap.
This light is absolutely fantastic.
Eat my wiener!
It cuts through that reflection and shows you what's underneath the surface.
That's just a flake in a bap.
I actually feel quite fresh for once. Oh, I'm so glad I got up.
I guess I have to.
You do. I'm gonna win. Who does that? I just don't know what's going on in there. No, that's way too small. It's not gonna work. I'm gonna stink! I could probably be a better photographer with a new set of knees, but I have a fairly good chance of nailing this shot.
The Canadian Rockies during autumn. A magical land of wilderness kebabs. And of course, you've got those gorgeous fall colours. So in terms of landscape photography, what more could you ask for?
So I'm back in Kananaskis country where Brent and I hiked up to Tent Ridge back in July. You might remember that vlog. If you don't, here's a link. And because it's September, look at these beautiful fall colours. And for a few years, Mount Kidd, that you can see just behind me, has been one of my favourite mountains. It's such an interesting shape. It's just weird how it just kind of twists down like that in kind of like a V shape. I find it quite fascinating, so I've always tried to get different compositions when I've come here, but typically the best shots I've found of this area are during the winter when everything's covered in snow and there's just these little pockets of water so you can get some nice reflection. But today, because it's September, the river is flowing, there's no snow, the fall colours are completely popping out of the scene, and now I have to completely rethink my compositions. And a place like this is a perfect example of having to work backwards from your main subject, which in this case is Mount Kidd, to try and find really interesting supporting elements to place in front of it. And this is something that I talk about at length in chapter 1, Finding the Shot of my Composition Made Easy course, but I'll show you another example of exactly how I go through that process with some of the elements that I've found just on the river here, simply by walking away from my subject and thinking, what can I place? So let me just show you this shot that I've found. Oh yeah, that's nice, that is. Oh yeah, that's nice. So I've got these lovely river rocks right here, just in front of this gorgeous reflection, and I'm loving this tree that creeps over from the top right to frame the shot. Now typically what I don't want to do with an important supporting element is to cut it off, but in this case I actually don't mind that you can't see the end of that branch because it leaves a little bit of something to the imagination. Now I've polarized the shot ever so slightly so that you can just see through this glare in the water. Now one tip I can give you about using a polarizer, especially when you're dealing with reflections, is do you want that reflection of the sky, or do you want to turn the polarizer a little bit so that you can see through the water? So there's a full reflection, but if I keep turning the polarizer, it cuts through that reflection and shows you what's underneath the surface. So my philosophy when deciding whether to polarize or not is it boils down to what's going on in the sky. If the sky is lighting up and the clouds are doing something magnificent, I'm probably going to want that to be reflected nicely in that reflection. But if they're not doing anything too interesting and there's some really cool stuff underneath the surface of the water, then I'll turn that polarizer and cut through that glare and feature that because it's interesting. And often I'll just try and play around with that positioning of the polarizer and just get various shots with different positions, and I can choose later which ones I like best. So I'm just going to sit here and wait for this light to hopefully kick off. Now the beauty of this spot is that it works even better as a sunrise location. So right now it's sunset. If this doesn't work out, then I'll just get up in the morning, come back here and try and frame up the exact same shot or something similar depending on what's going on with the light. And we're just staying at the Mount Kidd RV campground just down the road, 5 minutes away, so this is perfect. So I feel quite hopeful that I have a fairly good chance of nailing this shot.
So the waiting game begins. Now, one of the questions I often get asked is, what is Amanda really like? Well, I mean, obviously she's quite special, unique, strange, random.
This is what I live with.
Some might say daft.
I just don't know what's going on in there any of the time.
And some might say she's one stop short of a long exposure.
Are you panning for gold?
Whoa!
There's too much cloud cover, it's blocking the setting sun, and as you can see it's kind of really dull looking. Not much in the way of pyrotechnics going on, so I'll give it another half hour and then I'll call it quits. And then if it doesn't work out, I'll just come back in the morning.
And so we waited patiently, and then we waited a bit more.
Well, we gave it that 30 minutes, maybe even 45, and it's just got worse. There's so much cloud over there that it's just blocking that setting sun. It's not lighting up the peaks. It's lighting up the clouds a little bit, but not the peaks. I think it's a dead loss. So I'll have to keep this shot in my back pocket, come back to it tomorrow for sunrise, and now we'll just drive down the road and just see what we can see. I'm going to come back at 6 a.m. and get this sunrise shot. Are you going to get up with me and come?
I guess I have to.
You do.
And that's one of the problems of travelling in a mobile hotel. Back at the campground, we refilled our fresh water tanks, and of course, as soon as we got there, the clouds lit up. Typical, but at least we had a really nice dinner to look forward to.
Are you hungry, love?
Oh yeah, I'm starving.
Do you want a hot dog?
I don't eat meat, you know that.
I've got you a Flake Dog. I know how much you love chocolate.
That's just a flake in a bap.
Do you want some ketchup? Do you want mustard?
No, you can't put mustard on chocolate.
No, you can. Eat it.
No, I don't think I want that.
Eat it.
No, it's probably not a good idea.
Eat it.
No, I don't want to eat that.
Eat my wiener. Eat my wiener.
Oh, wait. Have you got any relish?
No, but I got some hot sauce. Wait till you see what I've got for dessert.
Now, if you want to know what dessert was, I highly recommend you hit that subscribe button. The very next morning, sunrise was looking quite promising.
Well, it's 6:45 a.m. I've had, I think, about 6 hours of sleep. So strangely, today I don't have a face like a pulverised plum. I actually feel quite fresh for once. It's quite novel for me. Anyway, I'm back at the river, and I think I've found the exact same spot that I was at last night for sunset, even down to the two really uncomfortable rocks that I placed so that I had something terrible to kneel on. So as you can see, Mount Kidd there is just starting to catch a little bit of that morning glow, and despite the forecast saying that there would be zero clouds, there are some really nice puffers up in the sky there, and I really like that they're moving in that direction to fill that empty space. So I am very optimistic that I might get some spectacular light. So I'll stop waffling and I'll get set up in the bone-crunching, knee-crushing, really uncomfortable position that I was in last night, and we'll see if I can finally nail this shot. If I can't, we might have to stay another night. So fingers crossed.
Even though I'm the most impatient person ever when it comes to landscape photography, well, I seem to have an infinite source of patience. How about you?
So here's something that I learned many years ago shooting in the Canadian Rockies, and that is you just cannot trust those weather forecasts, no matter how good they are or how reliable they typically are. When you're talking about being inside mountains like these, they have their own idea about what they're going to do with the weather, and so the forecast can tell you that it's going to be completely blue skies, and in reality you'll end up with some gorgeous clouds. And conversely, the weather can say it's going to be absolutely terrible, and you think it's just not worth going, I just won't go, and then the next day you'll see a picture that somebody posted because they did go and they got absolutely stupendous conditions. So the rule is, whatever the weather says, don't trust it. Just go with your gut, and if you've got the time, just take that risk and go out and see if you can get the shot. The worst case scenario is that you waste a bit of time and a full tank of fuel, but on the plus side, if you win on that gamble, you can sometimes get the absolute best shots, and I'm hoping that that's one of those gambles today that I'm gonna win. How are you enjoying that rock? I don't know if that's good for your hemorrhoid, love.
Well, I'm kind of on an angle.
Yeah, oh, I'm impressed. Whoa! You meant to do that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
So I've framed up my composition to be almost exactly the same comp as I found last night. It might be slightly different because today there's a lot more going on in the sky. So I want to feature a bit more of those clouds and that sky area in the frame. But other than that, it's pretty much the same composition. and already I feel like the light is more interesting than it was last night. So I'm just gonna, as usual, just commit to this composition, just camp out on this spot and wait for some beautiful light to happen. And then once it happens, I may well change the composition because it may illuminate some other part of the scene that's far more dynamic and interesting. Often you won't see that until the light reveals that interesting element, but for now, this composition's working great for me. So you see those pink clouds up there? I want that over here, which is the direction that it's going, so I'm quite hopeful. And this peak here has just started to get that hot red glow on it, which is perfect. So I just want that to happen on that peak. And oh, I can see it just happening over there. And then as that light starts to creep down, I should get the perfect shot with that Reflexion, so I'm quite excited. Right, so I could not be happier with what's going on right now. Not only do I have beautiful puffy pink clouds, but I've got the tops of these mountains illuminated. And of course, my goal here is to get those reflected in this little pool that I've got in the foreground here. So what I love about this shot is the same composition pretty much as last night, but I've angled it up slightly so that there's a little bit more of this tree leaning in. And the reason why I've done that is because of these clouds. There's just more going on in the sky, so I've wanted to feature more of that sky. Oh my god, this light is absolutely... Oh, I'm so glad I got up. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this shot in order to put it all together is I'll focus on the mountains in the background, get that shot at f11. Everything from there to about these aspen trees, I'm not sure if they're aspens or poplars, everything from the mountain to there should be in sharp focus. And then for the foreground, because I'm really, really close to these rocks that you can see here in the foreground, I'm going to have to focus stack those. And because I'm so close, what I'll probably do is focus on these, take those shots, and then focus on a few rocks that are just in the middle of this pond as well. So I'll actually have a 3-point focus stacked image. But at the moment, all I'm really concentrating on is getting those clouds in the right position and getting that lovely glow on those peaks as it happens. And then once that's done, then I'll focus stack these supporting elements, because they're not going to change. Their position will remain the same, but those clouds and that light on the peaks is ever changing. So that is what I'm focusing on. This light is absolutely fantastica. And so if this is all that I get, then I'm a very happy photo tripper.
I just love shooting the sunrise. That moment of anticipation where you can feel it all coming together, and it's just about to happen. I'd like to dedicate this sunrise image to Ricky, who's been in and out of hospital recently. It's been quite the struggle, but I hope this puts a smile on your face and that you can get back out with your camera real soon. So this image is a good example of creating a foreground out of, well, nothing really, and it's actually a lot easier than you might think.
And to give you an idea of just how small an area can be for you to create that foreground, I mean, just look at this, that's the camera. And that's the little puddle that I've used as that foreground element. So you have to be aware that when you look for these elements that you can use as that first layer, they may not be that obvious at first. In fact, you might have to hunt around. And, you know, at first glance, you might look at that pond and think, no, that's way too small, it's not going to work. But when you get really low and really close, you'll often find it completely transforms the foreground and looks like either a pond or even a giant lake. One of the benefits of being a YouTuber is that sometimes your fans are so kind that they send you new stuff, you know, new gear mostly, for free. And I've decided that what I really could do with right now is a new pair of knees. So if there's anybody out there that can provide me with some brand new knees, that would greatly be appreciated. And I reckon I could probably be a better photographer with a new set of knees. So just get in touch, post a comment in the description below. That'd be great.
That's better.
Is it really? It's a bit high, isn't it? You know, I sometimes get comments from people that say like, oh, for God's sake, just do your hair or something. But can you imagine how fake and pretentious it would be if I got up you know, brushed my teeth, washed my face, put my moisturiser on, did my hair, and then went out for the sunrise. I'd have to get up an extra 45 minutes. Like, who does that? I'm not doing that.
It doesn't take you that long. It takes you 33 seconds.
All right, I have to get up an extra 33 seconds. No, but it's just the principle of it. It just seems too pretentious to be like, oh yes, I've got to get perfect.
Do I still have sleep in my eyes?
There's a bit of snot there. A little bit crispy.
I should have worked on that.
There's a few cornflakes in your eyes there, but otherwise it's good. Right, well that is it. I think the best of the light is done. I'm so happy with what I got this morning. And it doesn't often work out that I go somewhere for a sunset, fail at it, then come back the next day to try the exact same shot for a sunrise and then succeed. That doesn't happen all that often. I show you guys some of the failures, but some of the really crap ones I don't bother to show you because I just can't be bothered to edit them because they're so boring because I failed. For me to want to put out a video, I have to at least have got some enjoyment out of the editing process. There's got to be something in it for me, so that's why I don't show that many failures. But this kind of luck doesn't happen all that often, so I'm very, very happy with what I got. Oh, I just want to say that my fingers are yellow from chopping turmeric. I do not smoke.
They look like...
They look nasty, don't
They look like alien
tobacco. I hope you like garam masala. I'm gonna stink! So that is it from us. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Don't forget to tickle my bell and maybe post a comment. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. It's a Flake Dog. I know how much you like chocolate. Eat it! Eat it!
No, I don't think it's a good idea.
Eat my wiener! Eat it.
No, I don't.
Eat it.
No, I don't want it.
Eat it. Eat it. Eat my wiener. Eat my wiener. Look at
Don't stop, keep going. Keep going.
It looks like a gross old hot dog. Look at it.
Yeah, it's gross. I guarantee you it's pretty gross.
Eat my
Wait till I've got it in me gob. Now tilt it up. Make it more vertical so it's ramming right down. Oh, awful.
Did you like it? You can be honest.
It was delicious, love. You finish it though.
Well, I would, but there's gluten in it.
Well, you could just eat the chocolate with the ketchup and the mustard.
But then I might shit my pants.
Here, I'll eat the bread. This is how much I love you. That's love. You can eat the piece of chocolate that's covered in mustard and ketchup, and I'll eat the bread.
Do you want hot sauce?
You got it.